Hello everyone, good day to all. I welcome all my dear kids to today's online live class. I'll be handling general knowledge for you people. So well my dear kids, in the last session we were discussing about the chapter of environment and ecology. And in today's session, let us continue the same chapter. So in this chapter today, in today's session, let us know about some of the pollution things. Okay. So in today's session, we'll be learning about the pollution. In the last sessions and all, we learned about environment and ecology, the meaning of that, everything. So in today's session, we'll quickly move on to the pollution part. So pollution. So what is pollution then? Pollution is nothing but, so it is an effect of undesirable changes in our surroundings. So it is a kind of changes which is going to happen, which is not desirable. That means you don't know what kind of changes is going to happen around you. It is an undesirable changes which is going to happen in our surroundings. But that changes which is going to happen in the surroundings will have a harmful effect on the plant, animal as well as the human being. So how it is harmful, everything we'll see here. So in this environment, pollution has been divided into four different types. So they are like this. The first one is air pollution, second one is water pollution, third one is land pollution, the last but not the least, that is noise pollution. So these are the four different types of pollution. So now we'll just see, look into the one by one pollutions quickly. Okay. And then the first one, that is air pollution. By seeing the picture, you can notice how the air pollution will be. So where air pollution is a contamination of air by variety of substances which is going to cause the health problems. With this air pollution, there will be so many of the health problems, and it is very important that air pollutions are the combinations of some of the air pollutants, especially the carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, and the ozone. And these are some of the important pollutants which is going to come with the air pollution. And also, air pollution is a mixture of all the solid particles and gases which comes in a air. And also the car emissions, whatever the smoke which is gonna come from the car when you're driving, and the chemicals, whatever the chemicals that they are going to use it in a factory. So because of these things also the air pollution will cause. And also when ozone is going to form this air pollution, we call that as a smog, and some of these smog or some of these ozone forms which is going to form this air pollution, which is very poisonous for the human beings life. Okay, so air pollution, it is a contamination of air by the variety of different substances which will cause the health problems. That's your first point. The second point is carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, and ozone, some of the air pollutants. The third point, it is a mixture of all the solid particles which is there in the air. The fourth one, the car emissions or any of the chemicals which they are going to use it in a factory. Because of all these things, air pollutions will cause. And the ozone forms of air pollution, especially that we are going to call it as a smoke, this is also very poisonous. So this is about your air pollution. And next, if I move on to water pollution, you can see in the picture how the water is being polluted. This is the best example for the water pollution. How the water can be polluted. We are the one who's going to drink the same water. If we are the one who's going to spoil that water, how can we drink that? So that's what they're telling here. It is the contamination of all the water bodies, such as lake, it can be river or ocean, and groundwater. So in all these things, we can see this water pollution. And water pollution, we are going to measure it by analyzing the water sample. We'll just take up the water samples and then we start analyzing how the water has been polluted. Based on the water sample, we will analyze whether the water has been polluted or not. And surface water pollution is going to include the pollution of rivers. So surface water pollution, what is surface water pollution then? It is the pollution which is going to include the pollution of all the rivers. That we are going to call it as surface water pollution. And the interaction between the groundwater as well as the surface water and this complex, that we are going to call it as groundwater pollution. Most of the time they'll ask you that what is groundwater pollution? Groundwater pollution is nothing but it is an interaction between the groundwater as well as the surface water, that we are going to call it as groundwater pollution. And then we have a land pollution, as you can see in the picture how the land pollution will be. So if you see the land, there is one vehicle over there. You can see there is so much of things which has been left it out there. So you can see the bottles, plastic covers, everything is there on the land. So by this the land can be polluted. So land pollution refers to the degradation or any kind of destruction of the earth, the surface, especially by the soil. It can be directly or indirectly with the human activities. Sometimes with knowing, people will create a land pollution. Sometimes without knowing, the land pollution will happen. And this land pollution, it occurs mainly due to direct or indirect effect which has on human activities. Whatever the human activities, whatever the activities that the human beings are going to do, because of this only the land pollution will come. And the whole globe, not only one single person or not only two people are facing this, the whole globe is facing this land pollution. And there are variable causes to contribute this pollution. There are variable causes, so many causes which has been directly or indirectly contributing to this pollution, that is land pollution. The next we'll see, that is noise pollution, the last type of pollution. So noise pollution is nothing but the non-harmonious sound or any kind of vibration or any kind of unpleasant things, unpleasant sounds which is very irritating for the ears, especially the sounds which is very irritating for you. We are going to call that as the noise pollution. The unwanted noise, that is unwanted sound, which can damage the psychological health of a human being. And the noise pollution has been affected with, associated with so many of the health conditions. For so many of the people, noise pollution is being affected. Noise pollution is again categorized into three types. One is industrial, that means the sound which comes from industry, usually the manufacturing industry. There if you go, the voice or the sound that you can hear, it's just like the sounds will be so much in a high pitch that you can't even, which is very harmonious sound for your ears. And the transportation sound, the horn sounds in everyday day-to-day life if you see. And the neighborhood, the people who are just who are just there nearby to you, they'll be just shouting in the home each and every day. That also can cause your noise pollution. So this is about your pollutions. Now I'll just move on to the different meanings of different terms. The first one is climate. So what is climate then? So climate refers to the long-term change in the earth climate. Say for example, any kind of changes which has happened in the earth. So that changes on the earth climate, that we are going to call it as a climate change. And also the greenhouse gases. And this climate change, you know what happens? A change in Earth's surface. It is a long-term change in Earth's surface. Especially, this change will happen due to increase in any average atmospheric temperature. Just because if a temperature increases, the climate may change. And also the long-term change in Earth climate. So whatever the Earth climate is there, in that there will be a long-term change. And the second point here is greenhouse gases. We can also call that as GHGs, greenhouse gases. So atmosphere here absorbs and emits the radiation within the thermal infrared range. So atmosphere here starts absorbing and emitting. Observing means it's taking in, emitting means just giving it out. So absorbs and emits radiations within a thermal infrared range, and the process in this fundamental cause of the greenhouse effect. So how it's going to absorb, how it's going to affect. This will have a cause on this greenhouse effect. And primary greenhouse gases are some of the primary greenhouse gases. What are those? First one is water vapor, second one is carbon dioxide, and the third one is ozone. These are the three primary greenhouse gases. And then the last meaning is that global warming. What is global warming then? It is an increase in Earth's average surface temperature due to effect of greenhouse gases. Just because of greenhouse gases, just because greenhouse is going to absorb and emitting the radiation, the Earth's average surface temperature might increase or decrease. So this will affect in the global warming. Okay, so greenhouse gases, just because an increase in the greenhouse gases, it will have an effect on global warming. So this is about your global warming. And next we'll see biodiversity. What is biodiversity? It refers to variety within a living world. So it refers to the variety within the living world. So in the living world, we have different varieties. So a variety within the living world, which can be preserved by setting up biosphere reserves, a wildlife and the bird sanctuaries, as well as the national parks. It is nothing but variety of living worlds. Our world is that. So it refers to there are so many living creatures, and it can be preserved by the biosphere. So in what are all the ways that you will be learning in biodiversity? Say for national park, it is also one of the example. So it is one of the reserved area for preservation of all the natural vegetation and the wildlife as well as the natural beauty. So national park is a reserved area for all the preservation for all the natural vegetation as well as the wildlife and the natural beauty. So the second point here, it is wildlife sanctuary. So it is a reserved area for the preservation of any of the species. Okay. And important sanctuaries of the national parks, and the list is here. So the name of sanctuary is here. Here you can see, and the location is there, and the important species is also here. So as I can say, I can just tell you here the name of the park. So Corbett National Park, which is there in Uttarakhand, and the important species over there is tiger, elephant, and panda. And there is a Dhurva National Park, which is in Uttar Pradesh. Here the important species is tiger and cheetah. The third one is Kasaranga National Park, which is there in Assam, and one horned rhinoceros is very famous over there. And next it is Gir National Park, which is there in Gujarat. Asiatic lions is very famous there. And then when I come to next park, national park, that is Kanchenjunga National Park, which is there in Sikkim. Here the red panda and the musk deer are the famous species. And when I come to Simplipal Sanctuary, which is there in Odisha, and the tiger as well as cheetah are the famous animals there. And when I come to Ganga Bird Sanctuary, which is there in Rajasthan, Siberian tea is the important spices, that is the famous spices which is there. The last but not the least, that is Vitharkarnika Sanctuary, which is again there in Odisha. So here the crocodile and sea turtle are the famous spices. So it's very important for your knowledge purpose. You have to know this. So this is about your chapter, students. So this is about your environment and ecology. The simple chapter, easiest chapter. You can just go through this. If any doubts and queries, you can call to these two numbers, or you can just send the message through the app, and you can watch the previous classes video with the usage of this app. So hope you all understood today's session. Thank you for